Hey everybody, this is Founder Faerun and I'm here with Lady Shel, and we're gonna do the things in Fantasy Grounds Unity. I'm hoping that you guys will enjoy this and gain some benefit out of it. Please let us know if you cannot hear audio or if it sounds messed up or anything. So without further ado, I'm here with Lady Shel. Hey Lady Shel, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. It's a nice Sunday morning. How is it by you?
It's actually, yeah, it's pretty decent. We're a little cloudy, kind of cool, but not bad. It's actually decent out. A nice
Great.
spring day. So, are you ready to help me here display how to do combat using the combat tracker and a map and Unity and all that good stuff?
I'm looking for my where I put my map. I don't see. You know what? For some reason, oh, I know why it is. My screen was not full
Oh, okay.
screen and I didn't have my the hotbar was not showing. Yep, I have my map. I'm all
All right, so we're gonna get into this. Right now, I have a scenario that I set up myself. And basically, Lady Shel is playing Hienna. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about your character, Lady Shel?
okay. Hienna is, oh boy. Wait a minute, hang on a second. I've got left arrow and it's moving my map off the screen.
So, if that happens to you, you can right click on the map and hit recenter or refocus, and it'll center it for you.
Okay, that's a good tip, but need to change my push to talk because this is not going to work.
Okay. And in the combat tracker, I have Honey, which is Lady Shel's war pony. And the war pony is also on the map. So, if I zoom in, there's Hienna and the war pony, Honey. So they are on their way to Axeholm, which is a location set in the D&D Essentials module. So if I go to my library and I bring up my library list here, I have the Dragon of Icespire Peak loaded, and that's now a free module, at least for about a month. So if you have a subscription or a license and you download your updates, technically, you should have that module available to you for at least a month. Once a month expires, it will disappear from your library. So if you are inspired by that or you want to keep using it, of course, you'll have to pay for it later. But in response to COVID-19, Wizards of the Coast and Smiteworks have been giving out free content for a short period of time, so that you not only can you use it, but you can play around with it and get used to what it's like. I think that's a really nice gesture. I don't know if that helps anybody for sure, but that's kind of a cool thing that they're doing right now. How you doing there, Lady Shell? So obviously she's still having
Yeah,
technical
no,
diff.
I'm just pushed the wrong button. I did the
Oh,
left
okay,
arrow again. It moved my map again, but yeah, I'm on Alt.
okay,
Hopefully, Alt won't mess up stuff.
yeah. All right, so to begin with, I have some modules loaded. So I have the Dragons of Icespire Peak, and mainly for inspirations. I'm not going to run this encounter directly out of the module because I don't want to have any spoilers. But I definitely am using a themed encounter that is inspired by this particular module. I have the Sword Coast Adventures Guide. I have the 3 core books, Monster Manual, Player's Handbook. I don't have the DM's Guide open because I didn't really need it today. I do have the Sword Coast Adventures Guide, a map pack, which are both ice kind of related, and then I have some of the maps for the region just in case. So that's what I have loaded, and then I have some Rob 2e coding effects that I might use. But other than that, I mean, I can probably get away with hardly any of these. I can just probably get rid of anything that's unnecessary. But you want to run minimally if you can. And one of the things I teach in my DM's class is less is more. So technically, I can go in these modules and get rid of most of them. So I'll go ahead and close that. Now the next step would be to make sure that the player is on the combat tracker. So on the right-hand side of the banners on the right, there is a PC banner. And from there, I can see Lady Shel's character. And what I had done is I drug it over and dropped it onto the combat tracker. Now, another special thing that can happen is sometimes you'll have pets or companions that you want to be able to let your players control. So what I've done is I made her a war pony, and I just used the pony stat block, and I edited it. So I changed some of the settings. I gave it a couple more hit points. I gave it some armor. I kind of increased stats just a tiny bit. I gave her a couple skills. I gave her perception and athletics, and it already had the attack rolls. So once I did that, I dropped it on the combat tracker, but it was considered hostile. So I had to go in and change that by clicking on the little helmet and changing it to friendly. Once I'm done with that, on the very right-hand side where it shows the little pin or the shield of the combat tracker, I drag that over and drop it onto Lady Shel's image, which is on the top left corner, and she should get a pop-up. Did you see that, Lady Shel?
I saw the horse go on the combat tracker.
Okay. So what do you do with the horse or the companion animal once it's shared to you?
I put it in my hotbar and I actually stacked it underneath my actual sheet. I have
Uh-huh.
it set up just like yours is
Yep.
along the right side of the combat tracker. And when I want to see Honey's sheet,
Stat block.
I'll click on her name in the on
That's
the
right.
hotbar, and then hers comes up. And when I want to see mine, I just click on my portrait, and then it shows mine. So I could go back and forth between them.
Yep. So you can click on the right-hand side, and that will bring up the sheets.
Wait, click on what right side?
On the right side of the combat tracker. So if you have them layered there, you can click there on the little pins, and that
I don't
brings up the
have
sheet.
pins. You were
No,
talking
this is
about
for the
view.
Game Master view.
Oh, okay.
So we're looking at this mainly from the Game Master view, but if you are the host or the Game Master or Dungeon Master, once you have these individuals in the combat tracker, and then you layer all these sheets up, this is what you want to do so you can have quick access. And in this way, I can also help Lady Shel or a new player if they're unsure of what they're doing. I can change these to reflect what they're looking at. I can't see what they're doing, but I can see the actions that they have.
I have a question.
Sure.
Now I'm looking at the combat tracker, and both of us are green. But when I'm looking at the map, I see that Honey is yellow
Now,
on the map.
honey may be considered a neutral. So let me remove her temporarily, and I'm going to have to reshare her. So just let you know.
Okay.
So if I right click on the map or on the combat tracker where her entry is, I can click delete, and that will delete her from the map and the combat tracker. So now I need to go to her actual NPC stat block that I created.
And of course, it deletes the hotbar
Yes,
entry for me too.
correct. So whenever you change things, it's got to be changed all the way through. So now I went to my custom NPCs area. I bring up the war pony, and I'm going to take the pin on the top left corner and drag it over and drop it onto the combat tracker. And as you can see, now it is considered an enemy. So I have to change it to a friendly. by clicking on this little symbol in the center. It may be a dragon head or some other symbol, but it means the same thing. So I'm going to change the faction of it to friendly. Now that it is friendly, I can put it on the combat tracker. So I'm going to go ahead and drag the actual icon now. And now I'm going to reshare it with Lady Shel by clicking on the right-hand side where the shield token is. And I drag that and drop it on Lady Shel's photo on the top left where she's connected.
And I got it.
And now we are going to layer or put our latest and greatest ally onto the layer so we can see it. Now when I click on the combat tracker, that will bring up the stat block, and then I can toggle back and forth so I can see Lady Shel's and I can see the pony, and hopefully she's done the same thing on her end.
Question. We got a question. Balzar asked, "What did you just do again to honey? Wait, to tie honey to your character?"
All I had to do is take this NPC stat block from the combat tracker. So I put the creature in the combat tracker first. Then I changed it to friendly because by default it's normally going to be an enemy. Then I take the little pin on the right-hand side, which is a shield or whatever symbol it is for you. It's on the very right of the combat tracker. So I'm hovering over it right now. And if you look where I have the blue pointer or the blue dice, that is where the link is. I just single left click and hold it and drag it to the player and drop it on the player on the top left of the interface. Once that happens, then that person will have partial control of that NPC, in which they need to bookmark it on their side so they don't lose it. So that means taking the shortcut from the horse itself and drag and dropping it down below in the hotkeys. So hopefully that helps. Okay. So now that I have that set up, I'm going to give Lady Shel a little bit of a story here. So we're going to kind of simulate some of the preamble before the combat. So are you ready, Lady Shel?
Yep.
So you've been traveling for about 3-4 hours from the city of Phandalin, and you're going into the mountains to investigate an ancient homeland of a lost Dwarven culture. The city, you were told, was Axeholm, and Axeholm was an ancient fortress that was in the Sword Mountains long ago. You were going to investigate to see if it still existed. And along the way, you've come across an area where you've noticed some strange stonework. So I'm going to ask you if you could please make a history check, but using your stonework bonus on your character sheet. So I'm going to show them on the back of the sheet, but you can actually make the roll. So they have she has an effect called Stonecunning, but she could also just she can add advantage or whatever she wants to do. But if she clicks on this, it gives her double her proficiency bonus temporarily. So she now has applied this effect, which is telling Fantasy Grounds to give her double her proficiency bonus for this particular check. And this is related to the stonework that she's seeing on the map. So she makes her roll. And what do you know? Beautiful. One roll. She rolled a 20. A nat 20. Now, normally I wouldn't announce that, but how I would handle that is I would say, okay, so you examine the ruins ahead of you, and you notice that there are several different types of stonework jutting out from underneath the snow, and it looks like it's been quarried, but very, very long ago. A lot of the etched markings of the tools that cut the stone have worn away over time, and there's patina and all kinds of moss, kind of dead moss growing on the outside. And from what you can gather, it looks like this might have been an ancient burial ground.
Burial ground, hey? Okay. Am I pointing in the right direction? Is
Yep.
that the stones that you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah,
I
all
wasn't sure
that
if you were
stone.
talking about the left.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. So what Lady Shel did is she right-clicked on the map and she clicked on pointers, and she was able to draw a line using one of these shapes to illustrate where she's looking at. So this is a good way to use a pointer, and so that you can show that to your DM or your party.
Actually, the way that I did it was I held left and right mouse button and drew a
Okay.
line.
Yeah, they're shortcut keys. So right now, being that she rolled a 20, I did not require her to roll an investigation or a religion check. She got all she needed to know from observing the stonework. And being that she rolled a 20, she immediately recognized and understood that this was a quarried area, and they used it as an ancient burial ground once they were done using this as a quarry. It perhaps may have been a quarry that people had died at, or perhaps there was a big battle here. It's hard to say, but nonetheless, you know that it's worked stone. And believe it or not, it is Dwarven. It doesn't look like it, because to the naked eye, it doesn't look like it unless you're Lady Shel or Hienna. But anybody else would just think it's maybe some ruins. But she would recognize right away that it's ancient Dwarven stonework, and that the edges have been rounded off. So that's very strange, because most of the time, Dwarven stonework has a pretty sharp angle to it. So she was able to understand that this was definitely part of her culture a long time ago.
Is there
Probably the
any
Delzoon.
lettering? Is there any lettering on the
Good question.
stonework?
So, Fantasy Grounds Unity does not have the lock tokens feature, but it does allow you to move your token around with the arrow keys. So, Lady Shel, if you grab your token and then you click the arrow key upward, it should move your token. There you go. So you move forward a little bit. Honey's going to stay behind and kind of whinny softly.
Yeah, I think she's a little scared because she just feels in the air. Just something feels weird.
Mm-hmm.
Cause she's a perceptive horse.
Yeah, she's kind of scared. She's looking around, or not scared, but nervous. And she's kind of like taking her hooves and kind of not stomping them and kind of moving them up and down like she's ready to go. And she's trying to keep her feet from freezing. So she's kind of moving her feet just to keep them from getting frozen. So go ahead and make an investigation. Since you already know what the stonework is, go ahead and make an investigation roll in the dice tower. So as you kneel down, and you kind of grumble to yourself because of the cold snow, you are able to move some stone and brush away some ancient patina, and you do notice some fainted runes, which looks like some ancient Delzoon carvings, but you can't tell what it says because a lot of the material has been chipped away or is worn in time. But you do notice it as Dwarven writing.
Do I read Delzoon text or
You can
whatever?
read enough of it to understand it's Dwarven, but you don't have any clue what it said because it's too worn away.
Oh, okay.
So you have the impression that it is ancient Delzoon.
So Hannah's feeling that she might be on the right track, and she's gonna move a little closer.
Okay? So go ahead and move your token. So all you have to do is click on your token and then use the arrow key.
How do you do a diagonal move?
You can, but you can't do it with the keys. You have to pick it
Oh,
up and set it
okay.
down.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So as you get a little bit closer, you notice that the snow has started to have heavily fall, and the wind is picking up a little bit, and you can hear Honey kind of shifting her feet more, and she kind of whinnies in panic as you approach the ruins. So she rears up and goes, "Ear!" So to you, that's kind of a warning sign that something is bothering her.
I know her well enough to know that she is very perceptive and something is wrong here.
Can you roll
Um,
a animal handling, please?
I can't.
Okay. So based off her attitude and your connection with her, she seems to be alarmed, and normally she doesn't do that unless you are under attack or something is pestering you when you're in camp. Like every now and then you'll have a bear or a raccoon or something trying to get to your food. So that's normally the only time she does that.
Because of this, I'm going to bless myself.
Okay? Can you use the number pad for movement as well as the arrow keys? I don't know. Maybe you have to hit shift. Do you want to give that a try, Lady Shell? Just go ahead and move to the left or to the right. He wants to know if you have your number keys, if that'll let you move. I think you'd have to hit shift. I don't know how to get to those keys.
I've got a laptop and I have a
Mm-hmm.
keyboard on the right, so
Well, he's wondering
I'm
if you
hitting
can
like
use 8, 2, 4, and
yeah.
6.
I'm trying those and nothing's happening. And I'm
What
holding
about
shift or
Okay,
I'm holding alt. You think I need to hold shift too?
I
The
don't know.
alt is my voice, so I will let go of the voice and hit shift and try.
Okay.
It works.
So yeah, if
Shift,
you hit shift,
shift, and then the up, down, right, left arrows
okay,
on the
try
numbers.
shift and home, which is number 7.
Yep, it gives me diagonal movement. Perfect.
Yep. Thanks for that tip. Ted, yes, it works. You just have to hit shift and the corresponding key. She put on.
I did. It's on me. I see it in the combat tracker.
Would you want to bless honey as well?
I do. Oh crap! Can it be part of the first spell? Because I
Yes.
forgot.
Yeah. You did
Okay.
yourself. Go ahead and
Yeah,
move
I
back
would give her
5 feet because you're up on the rocks. I know you were just trying to show us the movement, but there you go. Now, yeah, so Lady Shell drags this actual effect here, which is Bless. The first ability or the first button here is just the concentration tag. The second button here is she drags to herself and she drags to Honey. So now both her and the horse are blessed. And for some reason, Lady Shell, you have yourself targeted.
That's because I gave myself bless. Let me untarget myself.
Okay, there you go. So you got to be careful when you're targeting. You got to make sure you untarget. So to target something, you hold down the right control key, and you have to make sure it's the turn of whoever it is in the combat tracker. You hold down the right control key and you click on your target. And in the combat tracker, there is a target field if you're the game master, and you can see who's targeting who. And you can either clear it or you can target another person by clicking on the little symbol and dragging it over to the next person or the target that you want. You can do multiple times for multiple targets.
FYI,
Mm-hmm.
I just tried because Honey was the one that was in the combat tracker. She's the one with the turn. I tried to do a control and on Hienna and it didn't target. So I guess a NPC cannot target
Yeah.
with that, or
You have
maybe I
limited. No, you have limited control on the
ah
NPC. You
okay.
can't advance their turn, and you can't use them to target anything. So the DM kind of has to intervene.
Okay.
You can still do the attack rolls and move it. You just can't advance the turn, and you can't target.
I think Honey is going to move up closer to Hannah, even though she's scared,
Okay.
because she wants to protect her too.
Okay.
Whoops.
So see if you can move her. All
I
right.
did it manually with the mouse.
Yeah.
Okay, so she moved up there.
Okay. So she's following you along. Maybe you're holding her strap or like a stirrup, or I don't know what you call it.
Halter.
Halter, yeah. And she's kind of coming along with you reluctantly. I'm not saying she wouldn't protect you or follow you, but she's nervous. Okay, so Honey is waiting for Hienna to make her move, and so at this point, as a game master, I have a encounter set up. So this little pin here represents the encounter, and I have it labeled as Graveyard Ambush. I don't tell the players that, but once
I'm
I
closing
open that up,
my ear so I don't hear.
once I have that open, it shows the encounter. So I have some tokens that I had replaced because they had their own tokens. So if you unlock an encounter that you make or that you make a copy of, you can go to your assets folder. And if you have any token, you can search for them or click on these bags. And by dragging the token and dropping it where these tokens are, you can actually replace the tokens that are default, like the pogs, and use your own tokens if you want. So that's kind of up to you. But I went ahead and changed them. They were the circle tokens, but I went ahead and changed them for my own for this particular encounter. And then once you've added your creatures, you hit this refresh, and it actually recalculates the CR level and the experience based on their stat blocks. So once I've done that, now that Lady Shel and that Honey are there, I can hit the down arrow, and I'm going to go through this a couple different times before we actually do the combat, because there are different ways to handle this. So this is the easiest way. You make an encounter, you pin it to the map, and then you just hit the down arrow on the encounter once you pop the encounter up. So on the very bottom here is an arrow. It says add encounter to combat tracker. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And as you can see, I already have these things placed ahead of time. So what I did is before this adventure, or before Hienna or Lady Shel connected to my table, I placed these things individually on the map ahead of time. That way, when I hit the down arrow, I don't have to mess around with dragging them over manually or putting on there last minute. This is actually an ambush, so it's planned somewhat. So that is the undead did not know that Hienna was going to come here, but that is where they rest. And when they lay in wait, resting, this is the position that they animate in. So as soon as anyone comes within certain feet from this graveyard, that triggers this encounter. And as a game master or a game designer, I would put that in the notes. So basically, is where Hienna is standing is the trigger point. So anyone that stands there or goes further will trigger the encounter. So they're very territorial about this graveyard, and they also are very pissed off at what happened to them in the past. But as you can see, the encounter has populated itself into the combat tracker. And what you have here are static numbers that are generated when the NPCs are entered into the combat tracker. So I'm going to show you some options to help mitigate that or help make that a little bit more random. Right now it's pretty set in stone. This white has a 14. So if I had more than one white on here, they would all have 14 and they would all have the same hit points. And the zombies both have the same initiative and the same hit points. So if you don't like that or you want that to change, you can actually change the settings for combat in the options menu. So I'm going to redo this encounter. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to the menu, and you don't want to do this during a game. You kind of want to figure this out before. So I'm clicking on the menu button on the bottom left corner of the combat tracker, and I'm clicking delete from tracker. And there's two options, delete all non-friendlies or delete only foes. So I'm going to only delete the foes. So now, as you can see, Nothing is on the combat tracker other than Honey and Hienna. And funny enough, they both mean the same thing. Hienna's name means honey, and honey means honey. So they both have the same name. So I am going to now go to the options menu, which is in the top right. It looks like a gear cog. Everybody following so far? Any problems? Okay. So I'm going to go to the top right, and the reason I'm doing this is because by default, Fantasy Grounds automatically assigns a group initiative for mobs, and it automatically assigns hit points based off a static number off the stat block. So for instance, this stat block for the white automatically gives it a 45 hit points. So that's about an average. And then it gives it its own initiative as a group. So when you drop it in here, it rolls it, and that will roll for every white that you have that's the same actual creature. But if you change it to random, every creature will have its own unique roll. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that. So on the top right, here's the options menu on the top right. You have all these different options. I'm going to scroll down. Now, one thing I'm going to show you while we're here is the dice tower. So when the dice tower is active, you want to turn that on for your players so they can see it. If you also want to see that, you need to turn on chat show GM roles on. With both of those on, you'll be able to see the dice tower. And we were able to move it by right-clicking on it and unlocking the position. So by default, it hangs out over here. So if that's the case, right-click on it, unlock it, and then drag it over and drop it next to your dice so it's more convenient. Once you have it where you want it, you want to right-click and lock the position. So that is how you turn the dice tower on. So if you just want the players to use it, you turn that on. They'll see it on their side. If you also want to see the dice tower and use it, then you have to turn on chat show GM roles on, which means if you want to do any hidden roles or private roles, you have to drop them in the dice tower. If you don't have on this chat show GM roles, then all your roles by default will be hidden. So if I want to make a skill check or something, I have to drop it in here if I want it to be private. And Lady Shel will see a shadow of a roll, but she won't know what the results are. So this little eyeball in the combat tracker means that's a hidden roll.
Can you turn the dice sound on just a little bit? Because I don't hear. Do you have
Sure.
it off totally?
No, I have
like
it turned down. I have it turned down, so let me see if I can do that. So in the combat tracker in Unity, or excuse me, in the chat window, there are commands. So if you hit right slash and enter, you'll have a sense of all the different the basic commands. There's one called dice volume. So I'm going to do right slash dice volume. It's one phrase. Put a space on there, and then you put a value from 0 to 100. 0, that's turning it off. If you put it at 50, that's 50%. So I'm going to do 55. Now let me try it. Were you able to hear that?
I can't hear it, but I don't know.
Why don't you? Does it do it for you when you roll?
Let me see.
Okay.
It does.
So I didn't hear your dice roll. So it's on the side of the host or the person who's rolling the dice.
So does the chat hear both of us or none of us?
Good question. Anybody in the chat? Huh. Only heard the GM. So they only heard my dice roll, and that's because I'm the host or I am also the person hosting the stream. So it could have to do with how I have the audio piped in. So I'm pretty sure you could capture that if you used what is that potato program or voice meter potato. I think you can pipe in their audio separately. But nonetheless, you can hear the dice roll. If it's too loud or you don't want to hear it, you can adjust the volume like I just showed. I think that's important to know that. Thanks, Shel, for bringing that up.
Sure, it's just right for me anyway. When I heard mine, it wasn't overpowering because sometimes that could be really loud.
Right. Another thing that I want to show before we get into the actual combat, and I don't want to get too far off topic, but this map, I actually had to bring this in. I'm not going to go over all the map tools, but I am going to show you how I got the snow effect. So right
Before
now,
you do that, can you answer one quick question?
sure.
Dungeon Tomb wants to know, can you click on the effect window? I would like to see if they also miss one of the 5e effects in unit. Which
Which,
effect were you wanting to see?
yeah, I don't know what he means.
Might have been the one at the top right. Exhaustion, probably.
Oh, exhaustion is not normally included in the 5e rule set. I don't know why, but if you go to this effects, which is a little guy,
The zombie.
it has everything here but exhaustion. But Rob2E made a third-party module that actually has it. So all these things on the right are custom. And one of the things that he did is he put all the different levels of exhaustion. So if I wanted to add these to a character or an NPC, he's got all the different levels. So from 1 to 6, 6 being death, and 1 just being disadvantage on ability checks. So they did not include that. I'm not sure why they didn't do that, because all the conditions here are the main ones. So they did not add, those would have to be done manually normally, or you can get this third-party module that has all these different effects. So you can do it yourself, but you have to know all the keywords. Okay, so I think I'm going to finish my thought about, before I show the map tool, I want to finish this tutorial about this encounter so we don't get too far off topic. So I'm going to show you how to change the different options when you add creatures to the combat tracker. So if I go to option and then you scroll down, you'll see this combat GM. So right now, when you add NPCs to the combat tracker, it's going to add them as groups. If I turn this off, or it won't do that at all. You'll have to roll manually. If you have it on, that means that every single NPC will roll its own unique initiative. Another thing that's kind of cool is this add NPC numbering. So when you add NPCs, it'll say creature 1, creature 2, creature 3, so on and so forth. You can actually turn that off so your party members cannot predict how many creatures are in the encounter, or you can put it on variable or random, and that will throw them off big time. It'll say creature 1 of 13, even though there's only like 2 or 3 creatures. So that's kind of a cool way to basically throw your party members off. One other thing to know is NPC roles, variable or fix. By default, it's set to variable, and what that means is I need to bring up an NPC stat block first. So the white, he does certain amount of damage depending on what it is. So in his stat block, he does a sword, and it says hit 6 and then 1d8 plus 2 slashing. So that hit number means that if you change this to a fixed number instead of variable, it won't roll. It'll automatically do 6 points of damage. The nice thing about that is you'll always know how much damage it's going to do every time it hits. So you can kind of gauge how long it's going to take to make your players go down. So that is a useful tool on low-level parties if you want to mitigate the game more, if you want more control. Otherwise, it's going to be a large swing between, 3 and 11. So, if you don't want that wide swing of damage and you want to control it more, you change this NPC roles from variable or fixed. By default, it's set on variable. It'll just roll damage normally. But if you want to control how much damage each creature does, it'll take the average number instead. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying, but on the stat block, there'll be a hit number followed by a numerical value, and in parentheses, there's the dice roll, and then following that is the slashing damage. So that is in the stat block of your NPCs.
I like random myself.
I do too, but if you have a very low-level party, that might be good for low-level encounters. Now, the other thing is to change the way they basically to do their basic hit points. Right now, if I add this white to the encounter, he's already going to have 45 by default. But if you want to have the dice roll so that they all have different hit point amounts, you would change combat track. This is under house rules. Combat tracker, you change this to random, or you can have max or standard. So I'm going to go with random there. And then once Unity is caught up and they have this diagonal distance figured out, variant is where you would change it so that these tokens, when they move diagonally, they will calculate every other square as 10 feet. Right now, we do not have the ability to lock tokens, but that'll come in the future. So that is basically, now I'm going to show you how the combat tracker looks in regard to this encounter that I built. So as you saw before, when I popped up the encounter and I clicked the down arrow, all the creatures had set numbers and they weren't random enough. Now I'm going to go ahead and do it again. They'll still be placed where they were supposed to be. So I'm going to go ahead and click the down arrow. Or actually, I'm going to replace them so you can see that first. So I'm going to uncheck these, which means that they are no longer placed in any specific area. So before the encounter or the adventure, I would take this token, not the main token, but the one underneath. This represents 1. I'm going to bring this and drop it here. And as you can see, it actually put the check mark here, which means this token has been placed. So this is my token for the white. Now I'm going to take the ones for the zombies and place them in here. So drag one up here. And the next one's going to be over here. So now that they're placed, when I close this, these will disappear, but they will still be in an area where I left them. So if I close this encounter, they'll disappear off the battle map. But when Lady Shel showed up, now when I click this encounter again, and I hit the down arrow, they will appear where they're supposed to be. Otherwise, they'll just be on the combat tracker, and you'll have to drag them manually. So let's simulate that. So first, I'm going to hit the down arrow. And as you can see, they are in the correct places where I put them. And now they all have different initiatives and different hit points. So that's a way to randomize that part. Now I'm going to show you the third way that this can be done. So I'm going to leave the settings the way they were. I'm going to unplace these creatures. And when I go to menu, I'm going to remove them off the map again. So I'm going to hit menu, and then hit the garbage can, delete from tracker, and only foes. Okay, so lastly, if you have an encounter like this and they are not placed ahead of time, when you hit the combat tracker, when you actually hit this down arrow, it still adds them to the combat tracker, and no, they are not visible unless you make them visible. And that is done by clicking on this little eyeball up on the top left, and then there's an eyeball on each corresponding creature. So you can either reveal them as a group or you can reveal them as an individual. So they're not visible yet. So what I need to do is now I'm going to drag them as a group. You can drag them individually by dragging their tokens from the combat tracker. So I could just drag this over, and now he's on the map. Still not visible, but he's there. Or instead of doing it one at a time, on the bottom of the combat tracker, there's 3 colored logos, and these are actually helmets in this case. I want to drag the red, or the hostiles, and that puts all 3 of them on at once. But I still have to place them. So I'm going to drag him there, put this guy back here, put that guy there, and then run the encounter. So there's different ways to do that. I think that works for a random encounter, but being that this is kind of a planned encounter, I think it's better to have them in position. But it does kind of ruin a little bit of flexibility, but it's not that bad. So it all depends on the situation and how you're handling it. Now, Lady Shel, can you see those monsters now on your map?
Okay, let me get back into my screen. No, I cannot see. I only see us on the combat track. You didn't mean looking in the stream, right? You meant looking in the program. Okay, yep. Don't see them. Don't.
Okay, so I'm going to spring the encounter. It says if you drag the shield icon from the encounter story to the map, you might be able to right-click and select option to create a pin. So how do you make that pin an encounter on the map? Okay, so what you were asking is, how was the encounter made? Well, that's deeper into the Fantasy Grounds program, but I can give you a rough idea. Normally, you have a banner on the right-hand side called Encounters, and all the encounter is at this point is an entry. And I'm going to go ahead and select my custom encounters. So this contains the graveyard encounter, and here is where those creatures resided. And then I just grab this pin on the top right and drag it to the map, and that keeps it, organized with this particular encounter in this map. That's how you can link those together. But to make an encounter, you either make a copy of one. So making a copy consists of me taking this pin, dragging it, and dragging it back in. And now it's made a copy of it. And then I can unlock it and edit whatever. I can drag over NPCs and change the quantities around. This is what you would do if it's copyrighted and you can't change it normally. Or you can make it from scratch. So to make it from scratch, I would just take this, and I would take this edit button on the bottom right of encounters, click the green plus button, that brings up an encounter, and then from there you go to NPCs and you drag over which creatures are going to be a part of this encounter. One little side note, you don't want to make your encounters huge. If you need to, build a few of them so you can do them in waves, because you don't want your combat tracker loaded with 50,000 combatants at once. So if you're wise, you can just kind of introduce the creatures slowly, maybe 1 or 2 at a waves at a time. Because if you have several different creature types and they all have unique initiatives and such, it is going to be a long day. So you want to try to keep those smaller. You can still have a big encounter, but you want to have it introduced in waves instead of one big, huge encounter. And that happens to come from wisdom from using Fantasy Grounds. And if you don't, you're going to be scrolling up and down. So in this combat tracker, if you have a lot of people on here and NPCs and players, what's going to happen is on the right-hand side, you're going to be scrolling up and down every 5 seconds. So you want to make this combat tracker as wide and as long as you can, but you need to be able to see the chat too on the bottom. So hopefully that answers that question and then some. Okay, so we're going to go on now to the actual fight. So Lady Shel has moved up into position. She's a little bit apprehensive about what's going on. She casts Bless on herself. Now, did you check off your spell, Lady Shel?
I
And
did.
she did. See, she manually checked off the spell slot. You used it at 2nd level.
No.
There's 2 that are on my side. It shows.
How did that happen?
I don't know.
There.
Okay.
I unchecked.
All right. So she cast at 1st level. She blessed her and the horse or the pony, Honey. And now I'm going to have her roll initiative. So go ahead and roll initiative for you, and I will roll initiative for Honey. So she rolled a total of 5.
Yeah, super crap.
And Honey is going to roll hers. Oh, she already has an initiative 2, but I'm going to go ahead and roll for her. So she got a 14. I just did that manually. So instead of using...
Good girl.
So she got a 14. So as the game master, I can click in this cell and manually update that. So sometimes you have to do some manual intervention. So Honey gets to go first. So what she does is what, Shel? Where does she go? You can move her.
Yeah, I had to pull up her sheet. She's gonna go. She's still a little wary because she knows there's something going on. She feels it in the air, and she's gonna just like maybe just move up 1. Oh wait, I need to let go of my Alt key when I move. So hang on. There. Wait a minute. Are you seeing 2 ponies? Because I'm seeing 2 ponies.
No, there's only 1.
Okay, on my screen, I'm seeing.
Well, you
I'm
can
seeing
close
more
your
than one.
map temporarily and then reopen it. It would probably clear it, hopefully.
It did.
Okay. That might be a little graphic anomaly.
Okay, so anyway, she's just moving there, and she's just glancing around and seeing if she sees anything. So maybe she does perception.
Yeah.
And I'm getting the feeling that whatever she learns, I mean, she's gonna just like, I mean, she can't communicate it, but she can at least know maybe if there's trouble in a certain
Well,
direction
she's
or
already
something.
told
Maybe.
you. She's already told you there's trouble in the area. So that's
Okay.
usually within a 30 to 60 foot area. She knows something's going on.
Did she
So
learn anything else on her perception roll?
actually, matter of fact, as you kind of peer around in the direction that Honey was going, you notice a couple bones sticking up through the snow and a cracked skull. And you noticed a few of the stones look like ancient headstones sticking up out of the ground. And they're not perfect. It looks like over time they've fallen or they're leaning. But this is definitely a place where a lot of people were buried or perhaps killed. It may have just been a slaving miners' camp or something, but being that it's Dwarven, you highly doubt that. This may have been a place where they were mining and then all of a sudden they were attacked by something. Go
Or
ahead and roll.
possibly could even be like a landslide or something or
Mm-hmm.
something. Could I
So go
roll
ahead
what?
and roll investigation.
On me or on
You.
Honey? Oh, it's well, make my turn.
Oh, sorry. So Honey moved, And then all of a sudden now you hear some like rocks kind of moving or something like that. And upon investigation, you notice that some of the stones are blackened. So there was some kind of big fire in the area. And as you come to that conclusion, you notice these humanoid figures pop up all over. So as the game master, as soon as I say that, I'm going to go ahead and reveal all the creatures because they don't really, they're not stealthy in this case. So I click on the very top left and click show all NPCs. And now they are all visible to Lady Shel and Honey.
I shouldn't have had a turn then, right?
Well, I just gave you an extra
okay.
investigation because you rolled so well in the first one. So I was being nice. So the zombie over to the right, they don't move very fast. They only move 20 feet. So that's listed in the stat block. So that has to do with, let's see. That has to do with the fact that they are undead and that they're kind of partially messed up. But this zombie kind of looks Dwarven, Lady Shel, or Hienna, excuse me. So he kind of slowly moves over to your direction and ends his turn here, and it's making some kind of gargling sound, and it has its arms out towards you. It's going, so it's moved from there over to here. So not moving very quickly, but it did move. From behind this tombstone, this creature that looks strangely unearthly, ungodly, moves back, and it seems to be shielding its eyes. So it really doesn't understand the fact that it's been daytime, so it is really hurting badly. And it seems to be kind of heading back, like away. You're not sure why. It looks very menacing, but it seems to be withering away from the light. So it seems to be having trouble with the fact that it's daytime. And it's howling and hissing. Okay, Hienna, your turn.
Okay. Well, being a good cleric that I am going to take out my holy symbol and I'm going to say in Dwarven. Well, wait a minute. You said only the zombies were Dwarven, and the other thing you just said it was unearthly.
Yeah, you weren't sure what it is.
I'm still going to use in Dwarven. I'm going to say it in Dwarven. And I'm going to say, go back to whence you came. And
okay. Can you type that? Can you type that in the chat?
In Dwarven? Wait,
yeah,
let me select
I just
Dwarven.
want to show that you
actually can... Dwarvish.
Yep, Dwarvish. So Lady Shel has Dwarvish on her character sheet, so that is under her ability. Yep, and if it's spelled correctly, and she selects Dwarvish in the drop down, she now has these runes. So if anybody in the party understood Dwarvish, they can get the translation. If not, they're just going to get this runes, and they won't know exactly what she said. So that is a feature that's kind of cool with Fantasy Grounds. It's kind of underused.
And I will cast my spell. Oh, wait, sorry. I need to do this again. Why is it? Oh, I'm still selected. So apparently I tried to turn myself. Good thing I understood because it was Dwarvish. I'm going to target, wait a minute, I need to move the map. What is the distance? 30 feet. Well, let me see who I can target.
So right now, Lady Shel is targeting and trying to find out the distance between herself, the line of sight, all that good stuff. So you can draw oh, you moved your token. Yeah.
That's because I hit the wrong key. I don't see a value on the line that tells
I
me
do.
how far
If you
I.
mouse over,
Okay.
huh. Yeah, I don't
Nope.
see it now.
I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
I think maybe the zombie 4 in the back might be too far. Can you see
Oh
any
wait, now I
values?
see it because it's snow is hiding it because they're white.
Oh.
So
Oh
the one
yeah,
in the
I do.
back,
The one in the back is not targetable. It looks like 50.
yeah, he's 50. The one up there is probably 45, and the other one's 35.
You mean they're all out of range? I guess I need to move closer then.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to move close.
Okay. Now they're in range.
Is zombie 4 within range too?
Yep.
Man, this white is hard to see. Too bad you couldn't make the text different colors.
Yep.
Okay, so I have them targeted. Now I'm going to click my cast button. It rolls and it says if they failed or succeeded, and it looks like zombie number 6 failed and the other 2 succeeded. So that means that zombie number 6 is going to have to use its turn to move, get no closer than 30 feet from me. Oh wow! I just noticed that it took away the lines going to the 2 that succeeded.
Nice.
I never seen that before
Nice.
because I don't play Unity enough.
All right.
Okay, anyway, so the one that I'm pointing at, this one over here, 6, is has to use its turn when it's its turn to get no closer than 30 feet from me, and the other 2 are unaffected.
Okay, so what she did is she took her ability, which is part of her domain abilities for her
Channel
class,
divinity, turn
Channel
undead.
Divinity, turn undead. So she did the saving throw. First she targeted him, then she did her saving throw, and then any creature that has the effect, you need to drag that onto the creature. So the effect turn undead, you need to put that on number 6. And now in the combat tracker,
I did not mean to
it
fall.
ensures that their
Where did
turn.
I go? I went off the map. I clicked the left arrow since I'm still used to
Well,
doing the
click the right
arrow.
arrow.
Do you, she like
There she goes.
there's wait a minute. Come back over here where she was right there, I believe.
Yeah, close enough.
Okay, let's try alt, please.
Hold on, we have a
So
question.
okay.
Question. I know I can't see Lady Shell's screen, but I'd love to know how the targeted all 3. So all she had to do is what, Shell? How did you
I
target all 3?
I clicked on them and hit the control key. I use left control. I know you always say right, but I don't think it matters. You could do the
Correct.
left or right control. So you
So,
hit the control and click on the mob that you want to target, and it should show the distance between you and the mob, which is really hard to see in this particular screen because of the snow being and the white, and the text is white, so it's hard to see, but it does give you a distance because my particular spell was only good up to 30 feet.
right. So what happens is if you hold down the left or right control key and you click on each target that's within the boundary or the confines of the range of the spell, then you can click one button, and it will force the saving throws or the damage, whatever it is, onto the targets. Hopefully that makes sense to you. So that works well with area of effect and multiple targets. But the only thing now, Lady Shell, is you have to make sure you untarget the creatures when you're done.
Actually, I think it untargeted him. Remember, I told you that my lines went away,
Yes,
or did it?
she manually targeted
No,
all
I
3.
didn't. But yeah, it untargeted it when they succeeded. The target was
Yes,
removed.
yes. But
That's
now
a
he's
Unity
asking,
thing.
hold on, now he's asking, so she manually target all three while she has all three in her target window. Can she then target a single target for another spell? Yes. So Lady Shel, in your targeting window in the combat tracker, which is up here, you don't have anything targeted right now, but she could individually remove the targets, or she can remove all of them at once. And you would do that in the combat tracker, or you do it manually on the map where you just repeat the process. You just hold the right control key down and click on the target again. That removes the target.
Kind of like wax on, wax off.
So you don't have to use the powers on the combat tracker like if you have a dragon with a lot of powers. I don't know what you mean by that, but question, by the way, can you open the NPC button and use the powers that way? So if you have a lot of NPCs, yeah, you probably can. That's not a very clean way to do it, but yes, you could. You totally could do that. That might make it simpler if you have a huge encounter. I wouldn't do it that way because it's not tracking the it's something's being missed. It's not tracking something. So yeah, you can't in FGC Classic. Anyways, yeah, that would be nice if that was true, but I think it kind of breaks it. So I don't know if that's a thing or not. But I mean, for damage, it probably wouldn't matter, but more so, well, it might, because if you roll, like if you do a critical hit, it may not track that unless you manually select the modifier to do a critical hit, or you hold the shift key. So there's different things you can do manually to simulate that, but I think it's better if you have them on the combat tracker, especially when it comes to targeting and saving throws and things like that, because it adds in any modifiers that are within the scenario, which could be a advantage, disadvantage, cover, those sort of things. And I don't know if it will take those in consideration if they're rolled outside of the combat tracker. Also, when it comes to keeping track of spells that NPCs use, or anything like spell casting, would be kind of messed up too. Okay, so any other questions before we proceed? So Hienna just used her turn. Do you want to move anymore? Do you have any bonus actions?
The only bonus actions I have are like my healing word and stuff, and neither Honey or I have taken any damage, so there's no point in using that.
Okay.
And yeah, so
Okay.
I did move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I believe I moved 15 feet.
Yeah.
So you know what? I'm going to move back. Oops. Let's try not to move myself on the Twitch screen because that doesn't work. Yeah, 15, 20, 25. I'm moving back next to Honey, and then I will end my turn.
Okay, so now it goes to zombie 6. Now, as you know, he's turned. So rather than coming towards her, he's going to move away. So he's going to move straight back here. And that's as far as he can go without climbing this. There's a kind of like a big stone in the way, or hillside. So that's about as far away as he can go
I
away
think
from her.
if they can't go any further, then they do the dodge action.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take the dodge action, which is up here in the modifiers. So under the effects, there is a dodge. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on him. And if you don't have the dodge action here, you can just type it into a new effect line if you want. So like you can add another effect and type dodge. So I'm going to go ahead and add another effect. So I'm in the effects button, and then I can click this green plus button, and I'm going to put on dodge. And you have to spell it correctly. So now that tells Fantasy Grounds if she makes an attack, or if an enemy makes an attack on him, he will have the dodge effect on, which will give him an advantage.
I have a question.
Sure.
Since he made a movement when, oh, never mind. The dodge part is an action and the movement is a movement. Okay. I wasn't sure if he did both things on one turn or if the consecutive turns are dodge. So
No, I
he
think
does both.
he does both, yeah. Well, he actually moved, and then I just put the effect on him, so it's not like he dodged first and then moved.
Okay. Just keeping the zombie obeying the rules
Square.
here.
Yep. Okay. So what's Honey gonna do? So now I just advanced the turn by clicking this down arrow, and your players can also shortcut this next actor button by dragging it to the hotkey.
She's still kind of afraid, but I think she wants to protect Hienna, and she's going to move up one space. And I know why it's acting weird. It's because I have the Alt button down when I move. Let me put her back. No, okay, I guess not. It's got a black circle around her. Does she look like that on yours? Okay. Well, anyway, let's see. Okay, so yeah, okay. I was just trying to. So she's gonna move there, and she's gonna. Oh, can she do a ready action that if anything comes close within melee range, she'll kick it?
Yeah, go ahead and drag that effect to her from your sheet.
Okay. I
So
think that's
drag it
very
from.
clever, honey. You're a very clever horse.
So now Honey will have the ready action,
There.
which is
Yeah.
really just a note. So the actual thing that Lady Shel claimed for the ready action is that this horse is going to contain itself. It's not going to attack unless it's being messed with. So unless the horse is being attacked or shot at or whatever, it's gonna be ready to hit some, and they have to be within melee range. So it's not gonna run after somebody that does a ranged spell or something.
So she's done with her. Okay, you moved it. Never mind.
Yep, you won't be able to move it, I don't think.
No.
Okay, so zombie number 4 is now ready to move. So he's gonna move up. And that's his turn. So he can't do anything from this distance, yet he is adamant on getting fresh blood. So he's going. Okay, so this creature here is going to pull out its longbow. And it's kind of cowering behind this rock and this rockery here. It's having a really bad time because it actually has sunlight sensitivity. It has disadvantage on attack rolls as well as on any save. So with the handy dandy Rob 2E effects, I can simulate that. So if I go here and look for sunlight, okay, so that would basically just be disadvantage. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it manually. But there is a way that you can add those. Either you can type them in so they're permanent, but you'd have to do dis attack and then dis save wisdom. So if I go to the effects and I'm going to create a new effect and I'm going to put DIS with colon after it, and that's going to be wisdom. And then I'm going to do disadvantage on attacks. So dis attack, or DISATK. So you can either make an effect like that, or you can manually put it in. In this case, I did it manually, in case you guys have to do it on the fly. So he has sunlight sensitivity. He's taking out his bow, and he's going to target Lady Shel. So to do that, it's his turn, and he's going to target Lady Shel. I'm going to hold down the control key and click on her token. So if I click, why is it going to zombie 4? There we go. So she's 40 feet away. The problem here is that she has partial cover because of the rocks. So
Plus,
now,
doesn't he have disadvantage because of
yes,
the light? Yeah.
yes,
So it's
it's already
already
there.
disadvantage.
So he's going to be at -2 for cover.
Wow, disadvantage and -2. Are you sure you want to do that, White?
Yeah, he does. He's desperate. So he's going to go ahead and roll the longbow attack roll. So all I have to do is double click on it because she's targeted. And he missed. But I don't see the disadvantage. I
didn't see that either.
Maybe I have it coded incorrectly. But nonetheless, oh, disattack, that's why. I have to have dis. No, that's right. Anyways, maybe I have it coded wrong. But nonetheless, he missed anyways. So next time I'll just click on the disadvantage before he rolls. And that's his turn. So he's pretty much cowering and trying to shield his eyes while using his bow. So, yay, Hienna.
So I move a little closer and take out my sacred flame. Well, I mean, I take out my holy symbol, and I'm going to use my sacred flame. And I'm going to target the.
Okay.
And use my sacred flame on the white.
Okay. So Lady Shel is target him, I imagine.
I've got to stop clicking on that key. That's my old push to talk key.
Yep.
Okay, Sacred Flame. I'm casting. I've got him targeted. I am casting, and he failed. So damage, which is when what?
Go ahead.
1d8 radiant.
Nice. So this gout of what is it? A magical energy from your god?
Radiant damage.
Yeah.
It's radiant damage.
It kind of looks like fire, but it's not. It's energy, basically.
Right.
Positive energy. Ooh.
And that is a cantrip, so I can also cast a bonus spell, which I'm going to do spiritual weapon. I would like to get out my hammer, my spiritual weapon that looks like a hammer. If you got that little.
Nope.
Or do you want me to use the circle thing?
Just use the circle. I don't have that loaded.
Okay.
Okay, I got a question. So once you're getting that set up, why did I get timeout for asking that question? I don't know. Maybe because 19 messages were deleted by streamer elements timed out the dungeon tomb for 300 seconds. I don't know. Maybe because you're talking too much. I don't know. It's auto moderating you, so I apologize. I don't know why it did that. It'll come back unless you. I don't know. That's really weird. So question. I don't know if this is possible, but let's say Lady Shel casts Entangle or any area of effect spell. Must she manually figure out the area within the AoE, then target manually. So either way, she will have to target manually. But if she wants to do an AoE, can you show that, Lady Shel, with a square? So entangle spell is a 20-foot square. So just draw a different shape, use a square, and just kind of show that. Just do it over to the right, away from everybody else.
Like that? Is that what you meant?
Yeah, so there's her area of effect, and she still has to manually change or target everyone. But this gives her an idea of whereabouts the area of effect takes place. So go ahead and draw your spiritual hammer, please. Thank you. So spell action doesn't take care of that. Yeah, it's all manual, but there is an extension out that's being written by Diablo Bob. It's called a spell token extension. And what it does is that very thing. As soon as you draw the area of effect, you can use a specific token for a specific spell, and it will target anything in that area. It's really cool. But it doesn't work for Unity yet, so we'll see what happens. Okay, Shel. So what's your action?
So Hienna has called upon her god again. Actually, your god. Wait, let me
Yeah,
see who my god is. I think my
Baranor's
goddess
True
is
Silver.
Faerun True Silver. Yes, I asked my goddess to give me a spiritual weapon here. I'm going to attack the white because it's undead, and we clerics do not like undead creatures. We want to send them back to where they belong in the grave. I'm going to click on the cast button. I hit it, and I'm going to click damage, which is 1d8 plus 4 force damage.
Nice. Woo! So
Nice going, spiritual weapon.
So that white is getting its butt handed to it.
It is indeed, and that will end my turn since I did both parts of my thing. I'm not going to move anymore, and let me take the target off.
Okay, so the zombie that was turned is going to stay where it's at. It still has the dodge effect, but there's a duration. So this turned effect lasts 10 rounds. So it's only been 9 so far. Okay, so Honey is going to what?
I'm going to think that she's gonna move over to this zombie 4 within melee range, and she's gonna kick. Let me move the right character. I think she has 30 movement, doesn't she?
Mm-hmm. The Dungeon Tomb guy she has 25. Oh no, she has 40, I think.
Oh, the horse can move 40. Yeah, the horse can move all over the place. I got short little dwarf legs, and I can only move 25.
So in her stat block, yes, 40
yeah,
feet.
It's 40. Okay, so she is going to do a
She's going to bucket.
She's going to do the melee weapon attack, which is +4 to hit, reach 5 feet, one target, hit 7, 2d4 plus
So
2.
just drag the +4, the text.
Oh, the +4 part, yeah.
From the stat block.
Onto the
Yep.
creature?
Yep.
So this is kind of like I'm the DM here
Mm-hmm.
because I'm using a NPC and using commands for NPCs, which is different than
Yep.
the way that your
So right off the stat
character
block,
sheet looks.
she is going to make the attack roll. Connect. What do you know?
Wow, with an 8.
Woohoo!
This thing does not have much
Armor.
AC, that's for sure. Yeah. Okay, so she's going to do the damage.
Yep, just drag the damage statement onto the... Ooh. So she like kicked a hole in its chest, and it explodes with like bone and old flesh.
And black stuff
and
comes
black
out of
stuff.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She goes,
Okay.
smack.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we have
So
a
that will be
question.
Honey's turn.
So Dungeon Tomb guy says, question, in short, can you make the release move token button on a hotkey? So basically that one that the GM have to do. Not that I know of. I think you mean to approve movement. Anyways, in Unity you can't do that. You don't even have that ability yet to lock the tokens. But is that what you're asking? Is if you can? Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to try it in Classic. I don't think you can. It's the middle mouse button to approve. But if you want to try it on your table, you're welcome to. I don't think so, but I'm not positive. So my answer is maybe. But I know you can't do that in Unity. You can't even lock the tokens yet. So all the movement is still manual. And just remember, this is beta, so let me make that disclaimer that anything you see here might be subject to change in the future. All the features that we're showing you are up to date up to now, which is May 3rd, 2020. When the final release comes out, there may be some slight subtle changes or drastic ones, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so the next thing is Honey's done her turn, and she
Yep.
did really well. Okay, so
Oh,
zombie number 4 is going to return. So basically they have a slam attack, which is pretty nasty. So it's going to take both of its hands and kind of lunge forward and try to smack her.
Good thing she's blessed.
Oh,
Hopefully.
critical hit. It rolled a 20. Oh my
Great.
god.
You're killing my horse, zombie.
Yeah, it hurt her pretty bad.
You do not want to see Honey mad. I mean,
Well,
Hienna mad.
Well, he hurt the horse pretty bad. I mean, she went, "Arr!" So it put a big bruise on her side for sure. Probably cracked one of her ribs. So that's the zombie's turn. All right. So the white is going to try to attack you again. So he already has you targeted. I'm going to do -2 and disadvantage. And now I'm going to double click on the attack roll from the stat block off the combat tracker. Oh, automatic miss. So he dropped his bow. He rolled a 1. So he dropped his bow. He loses the rest of his attack. He cannot attack anymore. And he has to spend the rest of his turn picking up his bow and fixing it. And it says the white can make 2 longsword attacks or 2 longbow attacks. It cannot do that now. So it's done. Hienna, your turn.
Yeah. Sacred Flame on zombie number 4. So
Just remember, Honey's in the way.
I thought spells, it doesn't count for a spell.
It's a flame. So she's in the way. You can do it at a -2.
Can I get her now? Get him now?
Yeah, but you have to hit -2.
Still?
I don't see you moved.
I moved 1 forward.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you can sneak it by.
Okay.
Yep. So no penalty. You're able to like basically shoot it underneath her neck.
Duck, honey, duck.
No, lift your head. Winnie, jump up. Ah, he succeeded.
Figures.
So she kind of reared up as you blasted him with the flames and it missed him.
But I still have a bonus action, and I'm going to take my spiritual weapon and use my bonus action and move it over to next to the zombie 4 and attack the zombie 4 with the spiritual weapon.
All right.
I need to find it on my sheet. Oh yeah, it's part of my domain spell, so it's in a different spot. So he's already targeted from before, so I don't need to target again.
Yeah.
And that's a Hienna mad. I told you don't want to see Hienna mad. She's like worse than the Hulk.
She's forcing her will on him. And she does heavy damage to the creature. So that, ooh, that hurt.
Crap. You know what? I shouldn't have done that. I should have used my bonus action to
But you
kill
targeted
the
the
horse.
zombie instead. So that's good. You did it right.
Yeah, I know. But I should have killed
Oh well.
Honey and rather than, yeah.
Oh
I
well.
was mad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that will end my turn.
Okay. Okay, zombie number 6 is still hanging out, like trying to get away. Okay, honey, what you gonna do, honey?
Honey is going to disengage.
Okay.
She's not stupid.
Okay.
And because she's hurt and she's running away, so she's
Yeah,
going to
that makes sense.
she's gonna like go down here. She don't want to get too far away because she's still concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's moving down there, and she will do her ready action again, where if something comes within melee range, she will attack it with her hooves.
Well, I don't know if she can disengage and ready,
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, she
but
will disengage.
okay, but I get it. Okay, so zombie number 4 is going to come close to Hienna, and he is going to try to do his slam attack.
See this face? You don't want to get in my face, zombie.
Now, what's happening here is if he succeeds and he does damage, Fantasy Grounds will automatically check to see if if she keeps her concentration
Yeah.
for bless. So I'm gonna do the attack roll, and then we'll see what happens. So he's gonna do the slam attack. And of course it's a hit. So that thing comes barreling in and just smacks you on your shoulder or your neck area. And now,
I have a question here
what's
because
that?
wait, let me look at my AC.
He rolled a 15.
My AC is 18.
Okay, so what is broken?
How did he? Yeah, something's wrong. Because I
Hmm.
was going to say a 15 should not be hitting me with an AC of 18.
Yeah. So let me see. Let me try a different attack. So he missed there. Let me try again. So an 11 was a miss.
Well, actually, 14 is a miss.
2. 12. Oh, that's
See, now 19 should hit. And it does.
Let me see
but his
something.
15 should not have hit the first one.
Your armor class is 18. So you have a 10 and a 6, no dex bonus. So you have your shield. It says stealth disadvantage. I don't know. That's kind of weird. But nonetheless, he missed, so.
Yeah, I'm wearing chainmail. You hitting me, zombie. But does it get 2 attacks?
No, it doesn't
okay.
have them.
The
other
white
guy
has 2 attacks.
Yep. So the white is going to. It retrieved his bow. He's not going to move, but he's going to take 2 bow attacks.
Wait, doesn't it cost an action to pick it up and?
Well, he lost the rest of his turn.
Oh, it was last time.
And in order to pick it up, he wasted one of his actions to pick it up, and he didn't move. So
then, doesn't he just get 1 attack?
No, he gets 2
Okay.
every round. So actually, I didn't hit the -2 and disadvantage. So hold on. Game master error. So that's a miss. And that's a miss. So both of those missed. And he's really
How
frustrated.
intelligent is this thing? Because I mean, it keeps trying it, even though it keeps
Well,
missing
it's
it.
what's happening is the sunlight sensitivity. It doesn't have anywhere to hide.
Okay.
So it's disadvantaged and everything else. Okay, Hienna.
Okay. Well, this guy's up in my face, so I'm gonna oops, let me get back on my actions tab.
Yeah,
I'm
the
going
Garvser
to
said I attacked myself. That's probably why.
Oh, okay. I'm going to get my Warhammer.
Belzar, yes, we will have a VOD. We will upload this to YouTube, and it will be on VOD. So yes.
And we just had Nightfalls follow us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Belzar.
Sorry, Shel. Go ahead.
No problem. Okay, I'm going to grab my Warhammer and I'm going to smash this thing. Well, I'm going to try and smash. Oh,
Now hold
good
on.
thing it.
Hold on now. Stop for a sec.
Okay. Okay.
What's the armor class of this thing?
I don't know, but it must be really low if an 8 hits.
It is an 8.
Okay.
Because it's slow,
Yeah.
that's why. Because it has a low dexterity. That's why.
Oh, okay. So we're going to do some 1d8 plus 2 bludgeoning damage.
Yes. Nice.
Yeah, that's what you get for hurting my horse.
So describe that swing there.
I can't cast a bonus. Can I do a bonus action after I use my weapon?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm going to use my bonus action, and I'm going to do healing word on Honey. So
Okay.
healing word.
Yay.
And then I'm gonna check off my spell.
Okay.
And
And
begin my turn.
describe what that looked like, because you nailed him. He just like crumbled into chunks.
Yeah, my Warhammer, well, yeah, I slammed it right down on his head and his bones just, wait, is he bone? No, he's a zombie, not a
Yeah.
skeleton.
Right.
But he still kind of got a lot of bones with
Mm-hmm.
sticky flesh
Yep.
still hanging down and like,
Yep.
exploded his head and like flesh falls off and he just like crumbles to dust.
Belzar says, I'll be jumping into FGC classes as soon as possible. I have to convince 4 grognards, including myself, that using Fantasy Grounds will work for us. Right on. All right. So you all done?
I am. I did pass my turn. I think I did. I mean, it's
Yep.
on zombie 6.
Yep. And I got to pass his turn.
He's still
Okay,
dodging
Honey.
away.
Honey is feeling a lot better.
She is feeling a lot better. Oh, she's perfectly healed, I guess.
Yep.
Oh, let me open up her sheet. Where is she? I don't think she wants to get any closer to these things, but she is gonna move up next to.
All right, Honey. So is she good?
She's good. Now she's not gonna do. She will now on this turn. She will ready an action to buck or use her hooves on anything that gets within melee range.
Okay. So just go ahead and put the ready action on her from your sheet to her token. And then she has partial cover behind that tombstone.
All done.
Okay. So the white is going to move now. So he's moving up. And this time it is going to do a multi-attack.
But first,
Honey.
Honey gets her reaction
Yep.
to attack this thing with her hooves. Let me
That's
get.
right. So as soon as he moved up, she reared around and started kicking at him. All right.
Oh, wow. Nice kick.
So she booted this thing as hard as she could.
Yeah. Oh, it partially resisted. Okay. So, yeah, that's her reaction. White's turn.
Okay. So the white, being that was the last target or the last thing that hurt him, he is going to target her with his life drain. So it says the white can make 2 longsword attacks or 2 longbow attacks. It can use its life drain in place of 1 longsword attack. So it's going to take a longsword attack on Lady Shel. And I still have to do it at disadvantage. So he missed Lady Shel, but he reaches over and tries to connect with the horse and touches the horse on its neck, or tries to. Disadvantage. And he kind of swats at her. And he missed. Thank God. So that's his turn.
Honey only has 15 hit points. I'm really glad he missed. Okay. So I am sick of this white, and I'm going to use inflict wounds. No, I'm not going to use that. That's necrotic. That would not be good. I'll go with my cantrip of Sacred Flame again. And let me target him. That's odd. It says 10 feet and he's in the next square. Wouldn't that be 5? I mean, it doesn't matter, but where's the... I cast it. How come it's not giving me the... Oh, do I need to do tack? Sorry. Nope.
Yep.
Why is it... What? I'm not seeing a reaction. Oh, is it because I'm holding the alt down, maybe? Oh, okay, let me try this again and with not holding the alt down. Shouldn't the white have some kind of reaction to that spell? I do have him targeted, don't I? Oh, I do not.
Honey had him targeted.
Was I targeting the horse? Oh, Honey had him targeted.
You got to make sure you click on your token first and then click on the target.
Okay, now I am...
Click on your
I'm
token
not target. Okay.
and then click on his token by holding the control key. There you go.
There we go. Okay,
now do it.
Let's try this again. We're going to do...
Kind of save as it?
It's a deck.
Okay. Dang it.
Okay. That's
Bonus
a
action.
cantrip. I can't hit it with nothing, right?
No, if you have a bonus, if that was a cantrip, you can use a bonus action to move your sacred or your hammer.
Oh yes, I am moving my hammer over. Whoops. Grab it from the middle, and the hammer is going to take a swipe at him.
Okay.
Keep forgetting it's part of the domain, which is in a different spot. And let's try that. Oh, yeah, I already have him targeted.
Wow.
Nice.
Dang. Still sweet though.
Yeah. Okay, so that will end my turn.
Nice. Again, that other zombie doesn't do anything. It's Honey's turn. Come on, Honey.
Okay, well, she's in melee range, so she's going to use her hooves and attack it.
Hooveneer.
Hooves.
It's good you have an ally here.
Yes.
Nice.
Oh, it doesn't have much AC either. Well, kind of, but
Hmm.
better than the white.
Yeah.
Partially
Nice.
resisted.
Yeah,
Ah, I
he's.
need magic weapons.
But at least
Okay,
he took some
so
damage. He
so
looks
that is
pretty beat up.
good. That's Honey's turn, and it's the white's turn. Ooh.
This time he's going to do the sword on the horse. And he scored a hit. Ouch. So she kind of whinnies in pain. And then he reaches over to grab Hienna by her neck. And misses. So I forgot to do disadvantage and all that, but it didn't matter. He missed anyways. All right, Hienna, you still have him targeted.
Okay. I am going to only use my I'm not going to use the spiritual weapon as my bonus action this time because I want to heal my pony. But I want to use spiritual weapon again on the white. Where the heck is this thing? Oh yeah, it's in bonus. I mean, domain
Domain
spells.
spells.
Oh no, it isn't. Oh yes, wait. Spiritual weapon is in there. I'm looking for my cantrip. I did not organize my spell list very good. Where the heck is the oh, there's the cantrips. Okay, spiritual, not spiritual. Sacred flame. So sacred flame on the white. Oh come on! This thing must have a lot of dex to it. And then I'm going to use my bonus action of let's see. Wait a minute. Healing word is 1d4 and cure wounds is 1d8 plus 4. I'm going to use cure wounds on it.
Okay.
On her. There, now she's healthy. And that will end my turn.
Okay. Make sure you're checking off your spells, right?
Yeah, I am. Well, the other was a cantrip. Now I've used 3 of my first
Okay.
level spells.
Cool. Thank you. All right. So zombie number 6 is down for the count, basically. Honey gets to go.
She's gonna let me get her sheet. Whoops. That's not the right thing to click. There we go. She can
Anybody
use
else
her
have
hooves.
questions while we're here? That's what this is about. So hopefully this will help you guys.
No, that was not a good kick there. So I think it like slipped on the ice or something when she tried to kick him. So that will end her.
Boo. Okay, he is going to follow suit again. This time he's going to do the sword on Lady Shel. I forgot to roll disadvantage, so let me roll the second one. Yeah, he missed. And then for disadvantage for attacking Honey with the life drain. And he missed. So he tried to swat at her, but she kind of moved her neck out of the way. She saved her own neck.
Okay, we got to get rid of this guy. He's just like, So I am going to use my sacred flame again. I really need to start using my Warhammer because my Sacred Flame, he must have really good decks. Spiritual Weapon is going to attack him now. At
Okay.
least that isn't a save. Wow,
Whoa!
that Spiritual Weapon's got some punch to it.
Yeah, your goddess is backing you up big time.
Thank you, Burner.
Oh, so that
Yeah,
thing just fizzles into nothing, into like dust.
but we still have a dodging zombie in the back to get rid of.
Okay, it's Honey's turn.
Um, I think Honey's just gonna maybe move over to the right side of the log here, and she's
Mm-hmm.
gonna do her readied action if this zombie gets closer, which it won't because it needs
Okay.
to stay away from me. But
Okay.
let me put the readied action on her,
Mm-hmm.
and that will end her turn.
Okay, it's your turn.
And how
You want to
far
move
away is she?
closer and then move your
Yeah, but
token.
am I too?
You can move closer to the zombie, but you can move your spiritual hammer, or you can use a melee weapon. You know, melee and then spiritual weapon, or you can move. You can do all three actually.
She moved up there, and then she's gonna do her.
Crossbow.
No, because I don't think this thing had the good decks the other thing
Well,
did.
just
So I'm gonna
remember
do
it has
Sacred Flame.
dodge. Yeah,
Oh well, I'm
we'll see
still
what
gonna
happens.
do Sacred Flame.
Yeah,
No, boo! It succeeded.
I know. It got advantage on saves.
Okay, so spiritual weapon says you can't run and hide dodge for me. Now wait, now it's not dodging now. It only can dodge on one attack, right? Per turn.
I'm
It
not
can't.
sure.
I don't think you can dodge more than once. I mean, when you're
That's
dodging, but I
true.
mean,
Let me remove the effect then.
okay,
So, okay, go ahead.
okay. I was trying to target it, but I don't need to target it for me because it's the hammer that's doing the work here, which is here, cast. Yeah, that spiritual weapon is doing good. Sometimes I have a spiritual weapon that's really good, and sometimes I have a dud. This one is a good one.
Mm-hmm. It actually landed a hit, and it wounded the zombie. It's crack,
Yeah,
and I need to
yeah.
make sure now the zombie is visible. That might be a thing. Okay. All right. So you have yourself targeted, Hannah.
And I will end my turn.
Okay. So the zombie is still turned. It's still trying to get away. Honey's turn.
Did you put the dodge back on?
No. I'll have you do it for me. It's easier. Just drag dodge onto the zombie. It's
Make me
much
do the
easier
work.
because it expires and everything. So, all right. So it's Honey's turn.
Okay, honey is. I think she's gonna stay here. And she's going to do her ready to action again if something comes within, melee range. So, ready?
Yep.
And she'll pass her turn.
All right. So if you notice, I had to pass the turn for the NPC. Lady Shel cannot advance the turn for the NPC. Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to do Sacred Flame.
Are you sure? Why don't you just go up and hit it with a hammer?
Oh, you're right. I forgot last time how it didn't work because it's dodging. So I'm going to move.
Yep.
There's 15 feet, and I'm going to hit it with my Warhammer. Whoops. Up, up, up. Warhammer.
Ooh,
Nice.
critical.
Nice.
Sweet. So
And
you
then
caved it in its chest.
spiritual weapons turn.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
This thing really doesn't have much AC at all.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how about that?
Nice.
Spiritual weapon just knocked off 2 of the 3 mobs on this whole page.
That's awesome. All right. So once that happens, you guys want to take a short rest?
We short rest isn't going to do anything for me spell wise. I'm not damaged. I don't think honey is damaged. So I think I'll pass on the.
So you want to do a long rest?
Oh, wait a minute.
Or are you guys going to leave this area?
I think I'm going to look around because I came here to find this lost civilization, and I want to see if there's anything other than a graveyard full of zombies.
Okay. When you do look around finally and you're not being pestered by undead, you find a passage written in Old Delzoun Dwarvish language that states that this was going to be the burial for the great king of the dwarves, but there was some problems like strife at one time, and it looks like there was a riot or maybe a dragon attack or something, but something had scorched the stonework around here, and this quarry never really became a tomb like it was supposed to be. It became a graveyard. So that's kind of what you discerned. And it does mention Axeholm, so you know you're in the right area.
So I guess I found what I was looking for. Thank
You're
you, you
close.
two.
Yeah. All right. So basically, after this point, I will give these guys a rest. I'm going to assume you're not going to rest in the graveyard. But
No, I think I'll pass on resting in the graveyard. It's cold out here, and even honey is cold. And she has, a warm coat, but she's still
yeah.
cold. So
So the menu,
let's,
when I click on
head back
menu,
to town.
I'm going to click on long rest. So menu, you click on this locked symbol with an eyeball, click on long rest, and it resets her spells and her abilities and heals some of their hit point damages, if any. And you have shield drop on honey, which I don't understand why.
No idea.
Yeah, you were probably drug over the wrong thing onto her.
I thought you were going to say I was drugged or something.
Yeah, you were. So basically, once that's done, then I open up the encounter and I'm going to go to the party sheet. And this is where you would award Lady Shel or your party experience points. So if I go to the experience points tab, I can drag this encounter into the encounters area, and it's worth 800. So once that's done, I hit award, and it automatically will split it up amongst the party. So she now just got 800 because she's by herself, basically. And Honey doesn't get the experience points because it's not an adventurer. Even though she's a companion animal, I don't put them on the party sheet.
Yeah, if you don't put it in the party sheet, then it doesn't. It can be on the combat tracker, but not in the party sheet, and then it doesn't get the experience, but it can still help in the.
That's right. And if there's any treasure, like if I had made a parcel like I had meant to, I would award that to her. So maybe she would find a couple coins, an old ancient pickaxe, some bone fragments, and maybe even a dwarven axe or shield or something. And that would be the treasure that she gets out of here. Wouldn't be a lot, but there would be some items here. And there might even be a partially preserved scroll that's in an old rotten scroll case that may have given her a better insight as to what she found in the graveyard. But I would have made it a lot more immersive if this was an actual adventure. But this is just to kind of show the combat side of things. So, anybody else have questions before we go? I think we've been going for about 2 hours now. So, I think this would be good content for the VOD. Anybody going once, going twice? Lady Shel, any questions?
Nothing on my end.
All right, we're going to call it a stream, folks. I'm going to upload this to YouTube for Lady Shel, and later on tonight, when she has a chance, she'll try to get this up and going. And then I'll also put it on our reruns for the VOD, which is video on demand. And hopefully, we'll see you guys around the community. Thanks for stopping by. Bye bye.
Thanks for coming, people. Bye.